Hey everyone, have you ever noticed that while playing Space Station, there are certain stereotypes for how people act in a job? I sure have. And today, we're gonna cover the stereotypes for passenger. Now, before we dive into the specifics, let's break down how we're gonna rate each role using these four key stats: roleplay, robustness, annoyance, and sweat. These stats capture the essence of each job and how they fit into the crazy ecosystem of the space station. First up is roleplay. This measures how much the person in that job really gets into character. Are they embracing their role, acting it out to the fullest, or just coasting through and doing pretty much zero roleplay? The more they roleplay and the more they get into character, the higher their roleplay stat will be. Robustness. Basically, if some dude attacks them with a crowbar, how likely are they to win? Can they hold their own in a fight? If so, probably higher up there. Are they basically immortal and unkillable? Probably maxed out. And if they're more of a punching bag for antagonists, then they're probably lower to the bottom. Pretty simple stat. Annoyance is the third stat. Basically, how much do other players hate dealing with you? Mostly, this relates to security since they have to interact with the entire crew, but this can also be departmental or interacting with the entire station at large. To sum it up, if you're annoying, you're going to have a high annoyance stat. Sweat is the last of the stats. How much effort are you putting into the job you are playing and doing it really well? This is simultaneously a mechanical thing and a roleplay thing. If you're trying to do maximum effort, you're going to have a high sweat stat, but if you're just going around doing whatever, you're going to have a low sweat stat. Now, important thing, none of these stats, besides annoyance, are a bad thing. If you have a high roleplay stat or a low roleplay stat, it doesn't really matter. We're all here to have fun. Do not take any of these stereotypes seriously. First up, the passenger. If there's a cushier gig, I have yet to find it. No tasks, no responsibilities, just you, a chair, and all the time in the world. You have zero responsibilities, and as such, spend your entire time stirring up trouble or doing literally whatever you feel like. There are 5 stereotypes for passenger that I have seen, but I will say that a passenger is the most broad job. You have everyone that could possibly do anything in this job. Any kind of roleplay is possible as a passenger, and that's why so many people play it. Let's start with the universal role, the nooblet. This is the classic new player who's just starting out and has no goddamn clue what they're doing. Let's go through the stats. First up, roleplay. Nooblets typically score extremely low, ranging from 0 to 2. They're either not quite sure how to get into character, or just don't know what the hell is going on. Don't expect backstories or immersive role-playing from them, but do say hi if they say hi. It's good to foster the nooblet experience. Robustness. Do I have to explain why a new player has a 0 on robustness? No? We can move on. They're a new player. They're more likely to walk into a grill and die than to actually manage to fight off a spider. As for annoyance, they can either be a 0 in annoyance and they just stick to themselves and are scared to touch anything, or in their experience of trying to learn as much as possible, they do as much random crap as possible. Trespassing, cracking open doors, wandering around and throwing stuff. It really depends on how actively they're trying to learn. Don't get too mad at them. Everyone was a nooblet at some point, and everyone has done something stupid trying to learn the game. I mean, personally, my first roleplay experience was accidentally walking into bar and destroying every single glass on the bar table. Was not a fun time, and I certainly did get beaten down for it. Sweat is a 0. They don't have a job. They're trying to get a handle on the basics. Their effort level is more focused on staying alive, and they're not trying to cause anything to happen. Because again, they don't know what they're doing. Nooblets are a bit of a mixed bag. But they're the new players, the new generation. As people get bored and move on to other things, give them a break. They're trying their best. Usually. Next up, let's talk about a stereotype that's often seen but almost never understood. Even I don't understand them at times. The spectator. These are the passengers who prefer to watch everything happen around them. But don't let their low profile fool you. There's a fair bit more to them than meets the eye. Here's the stats. First of all, roleplay, 0. Spectators try to keep a low profile, and they just don't roleplay. Interacting for them is akin to touching an ecosystem or poking a bear. It changes how it acts. They're more interested in just seeing it play out naturally. Robustness, though, they're a 5. Don't be fooled by their passive demeanor. If you go out of their way to annoy a spectator, they will beat you down in seconds. You'll wake up in medbay not knowing what the hell just happened. Armed with nothing but a peel and a crowbar, they will defend themselves and they're spectating fiercely and then go right back to spectating. Annoyance is a 0. They're too busy watching. They, again, do not do anything. They're just here to observe. Sweat, though, that's a 5. They take observing super seriously. They'll observe every detail, and their investment is genuine. If you've got an interesting story arc, you might find them on your side, ready to defend it with everything they got, even just quietly from the sidelines. Ever noticed that while you're having a intense conversation with another crewmate, that the random clown that's slipping everyone isn't around? They probably got toolboxed by the spectator for interrupting their spectating. So, while the spectators might just seem like a passive observer, they are incredibly powerful allies or opponents if you annoy them. Just let them observe, let them be. And now let's dive into the most notorious and annoying guy, the selfer. These are the tiders who make it their mission to be as disruptive as possible and are pretty much always self-antagging. And here's the stats for the selfer. Roleplay, 0. That's the whole point. They don't roleplay. Their actions are just chaos. They never have a roleplay motivation to do literally anything. And they're more interested in just disrupting everyone else and annoying security, especially, than in creating any interesting gameplay or character moments. When it comes to their robustness, it's a 1. They're not good at combat. They're not smart at combat either. Their main tools are the banana peel and dragging away people that are being arrested. It doesn't matter if the guy has an e-sword and just murdered like 3 random crewmates for no reason. The selfer is still going to try and get that guy that's blatantly murdering people out of security's grasp. Because they're an idiot and they don't know how to actually fight security head on. In terms of annoyance, 5, obviously. They may not be robust, and they never have a roleplay reason, but they are damn sure the most annoying motherfuckers to deal with. They put stupid amounts of effort into being annoying. Like, whether they're just annoying command by screaming about them and going shit-sack, even if you arrest them and throw them in brig, they'll proceed to spend the next 10 minutes bitching over common comms about how, shit sec is. I don't get why. Why do you do this? You just helped, a known mass murderer escape. Why are you bitching about security being shit? And of course, it doesn't end there, because they're also sweaty about it. It doesn't matter if you arrest them and bring them 5 times, 10 times. If you throw them in perma, they will continue to spend the rest of the round being an annoying shit. They will come back as ghost rolls and be an annoying shit. And yes, this entire section is just to complain about people who are annoying. No, this person doesn't actually exist that often, and yes, they're usually banned pretty quickly, but I just really need to get some pent-out anger out. In short, selfers are the guys who I hate, and you should hate, and everyone hates. No one likes them, no one appreciates them, they're a terrible person. Get out of here, leave, play Call of Duty, play Fortnite, go back to Twitter. Get off of my fucking role-playing game. I am trying to have a role-play experience where I call security out on their bullshit for a genuine reason. I don't need you ruining the entire roleplay by going, yeah, bro, get sucked. Now that I've gotten my anger out, let's talk about a creative type, the gimmick guy. This player is all about whatever their chosen gimmick is, and they are more committed to it than the captain is to actually running the station. Whether it's setting up a makeshift shop, jump-scaring people from inside a box, building a shittle, or some other random quirk, they got a plan, they got a gimmick, they're sticking to it. Here is your dose of stats for the gimmick guy. Starting with roleplay, they score between 2 and 4. Gimmick guys are all about immersing themselves in their chosen gimmick. Whether it's running a business or doing literally any weird thing, they might not be deep into classic roleplay, but they commit to the bit. As for robustness, they're a solid 4. These players are tough enough to protect their gimmick, and they're likely very experienced with the combat. If you break into, say, their business or interrupt their gimmick, they will toolbox you down without a moment's hesitation, and they're pretty hard to defeat, although they tend to avoid combat. As for annoyance, it varies from 0 to 2. How annoying they are depends entirely on the gimmick. Some gimmicks are entirely harmless, while others might be a bit of a problem if you're sec or if they're dealing with Contra in any way. However, they are the sweatiest guys around, scoring at a 4 to 5. Gimmick guys put in serious effort. They're dedicated to making their gimmick work, often going above and beyond to ensure it's not only successful, but memorable. They'll sweat the littlest details and will not hesitate to dive in head first.
Attention.
An entire Nuki round could be happening. They will not budge on their gimmick. They will box jump scare the Nukies or continue their shop as the bomb goes off. They do not care. Like, seriously. They just want to do their gimmick for that round, or multiple rounds. I know some gimmick people who only play as that gimmick because they find it so fun. They're dedicated, and I respect it. I wish it was that easy to have as much fun as they're having. And now, for the final type of titer that I see, we enter into legendary territory with the omni-tier. The rarest type of titer you'll encounter. An absolute enigma who somehow manages to walk the line between chaos and heroism perfectly. For the final time, here's how the omni-tier ranks. With roleplay, we get a 3. They're not exactly deep into character, but they've got enough roleplay flair to make their actions feel purposeful and, dare I say it, noble. Whether they're stealing Cap's ID to broadcast important information, like Nukies, zombies, before immediately giving back the ID and slipping back into shadows, they add some stupid intrigue to their antics, and they're almost never harmful. At least when they don't have a roleplay reason to be. If they have one, oh boy. Because on robustness, it's a full 5. Omni-titers are stupidly skilled, capable of pulling off incredible feats that even the most skilled players wouldn't go for. Like, if you are security, or a Cindy, or any other role, if the omni-titer does not want to be caught, you are very unlikely to catch them. And even still, they'll do it without harming you in the process. It's almost scary. When these guys get antagonist, oh god, do they ever get antagonist. And as for their annoyance, it's a range of 0 to 4. They usually try to be helpful, but sometimes ignoring space law to be helpful ends up causing more issues than it solves. Like stealing Cap's ID to go make an important announcement. If a Cindy takes you out, congratulations, you've just given untrackable AA to someone else. And that kind of applies to everything else they're doing, and especially if you're security. Because it's really hard to tell if they're evil or not, because they're doing illegal things, but they're doing it for a good purpose. It really depends on whether you're on the receiving end, or if you're in security. Or command, for that matter. Finally, Sweat is a solid 5. The omni-tier puts in stupid effort. More effort than the captain is putting into it. Or the head of security. Or half of command at times even. They're not just messing around. They're executing complex maneuvers with precision and efficiency. It's not about them causing chaos for its own sake. Their focus is to make sure the round keeps going, and they have a fine pulse on how much mayhem is happening and how bored people are. They will tide harder when there's no chaos, and tide softer when there's lots of chaos. But here's the kicker. You can't become an omni-tier by trying. If you attempt to emulate their style, you'll just end up becoming a selfer by mistake. The omni-tier is a motherfucking natural. Someone who's mastered the art of tiding without causing unnecessary disruption. They're a rare breed, and when you spot one in action, sit back and enjoy the show. And that is a wrap on the tier. There's only 5, but given that it's, well, Passenger and literally everyone has played this at some point, there's inevitably going to be things I've missed. Do let me know if I've missed any big ones, as condensing it down into 5 does feel like a bit of a cop-out, but I'm lazy. Screw you. Last reminder, these are stereotypes, this is a joke. Don't go out of your way and use this to like insult someone, and form your own opinions for the love of God. Like, be normal. Christ. Like, subscribe, blah blah blah. Outro.